everyone. Welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam. Today, I'm playing a little bit of Temur here, a Todd Anderson special. Not a deck he made, but, he's a devotee of the Temur a Shard. I think Temur's a Shard. Right? No, Temur's a wedge. It's a clan. It's from Khan's. Okay, figured it out. Regardless, our deck's blue, red, and green. Got some lightning bolts, got some Tarmogoyfs, got some counter spells. Hopefully, we utilize them effectively to kill our opponent. This hand, despite being one land, we're on the draw, and we have Serum Visions and Opt to dig, and some good things to play to follow them up, especially Tarmogoyf. So I will keep this one. A little bit risky, but we can get Breeding Pool, and then any second land will be fine. Hopefully, we find a bunch of lands to use as Tireless Tracker, which is one of my picks for underrated card in Modern. I think that card is just really good. Opponent scry to the bottom after their mulligan. They are in play. Let's see what they're up to. Snow-covered island. Storm? That's what it seems like. Our hand is not great against Storm. We do have a counter spell. We don't have an answer to a Brawl, which is a problem. Electrolyze can take out a Goblin Electromancer, but usually they go with the Brawl. There's the second land, though, so that's a good start. Opponent split the scry on Serum Visions. And we'll see what our own Serum Visions does. This is a version of Temur that tries to utilize Blood Moon with a lot of basics. Unfortunately, this is not a matchup where Blood Moon is going to be good. Sometimes it is, awkwardly enough, against the fetchless versions, because they don't have that many basics, at least effective basics. And you can just try to aggressively keep them off Manamorphose, but they've already played an island here on turn 1, and that's usually enough to make Blood Moon bad. I'm going to bottom both of these. I already have a Goyf and another Cantrip, and I don't really have time to be putzing around with them. I think I might need to naturally hit land drops so I can at least have Logic Knot up on my turn 3. But unless they just slam a Brawl here, I'm probably trying to go Tarmogoyf to establish some pressure. This answer is Brawl, but unfortunately does so at sorcery speed, which is a big difference. I'm also not a huge fan of dealing myself a lot of damage, but I definitely need to get a red source here, and I need a second blue source for Logic Knot, so I will be getting a Steam Vents. And hopefully this Tarmogoyf doesn't get remanded. But I'm kind of expecting it to. It's possible. Oh, okay. Well, I like that. It's only a 2-3 for now, but we'll get instant in there pretty quickly. That is, if we get another turn. Definitely possible that they were saving the Brawl here if they have a strong turn 3 line. And, ooh, nothing. That's interesting. Well, I'm going to opt to try to hit a third land here and pump our Tarmogoyf. A little bit risky, but I don't think you can fall behind on lands against this deck. They're pretty good at taxing your mana between remand and just doing good things. Didn't hit a land, but we did hit an interactive card here for that we can cast in Spell Snare, one of our better cards in the matchup. And we have a Snapcaster to reuse it once we hit a land. What is going on? People are blowing up my phone. Importantly, Spell Snare will answer a Brawl here. So we will snap it off essentially at the first possibility, I believe. Manamorphose and Brawl are the two I'm going to prioritize. I guess if they didn't play a fourth land and they went Brawl, I could have let it resolve, counter a ritual, and untap and roast the Brawl. And be more efficient that way. Definitely spell snaring this. So my worry here is if they have ritual remand and go off from there. I also just don't have the mana to effectively deal with this on my turn and then hold up Logic Knot, so I think I just need to use my spells as I can. This also gets Creature in the Graveyard for Tarmogoyf, increasing our clock. It's possible they remand our Spell Snare here, which I'd be somewhat happy with, especially if I could just draw land and then roast the Electromancer and hold up Spell Snare again. I could remand their Electromancer to effectively get rid of my Spell Snare and then go off next turn, which would also insulate their Electromancer from the roast, but they don't have that, which is good. And I hit third land, which lets me hold up Snapcaster Mage, which I like. So I can snap Spell Snare, or if they don't do anything, I can snap Opt and try to keep hitting more land drops or hit more interaction, hold up Logic Knot. Then Snapcaster Mage will increase my clock by a turn. Because it scopes a 4/5, I'm a little short of killing in 2 attacks. So I'll prioritize getting the snap in play. Though if they do nothing, I can just Electrolyze, deal 2, and that increases my clock as well. Huh. So now I'm sort of guessing that they're holding up Gifts Ungiven, and they're going to try to Gifts on the end step. And I really want to counter that. I think it'll be difficult for them to go off if I've answered an Electromancer and a Gifts Ungiven. So I'm willing to not Electrolyze here. Okay, there's land 4. Let's just keep attacking. We will be shields down if they if we counter a Gifts here. And they do have it. So I am going to just Logic Knot for 1. I guess I'll do it for 2 to play around a Simian Spirit Guide. Sure, why not? We're going to hold up max mana to try to like bluff another Logic Knot or a remand of some kind. But this is the position they put us in. Okay, I like seeing them start with Sleight of Hand. That is a sign that they don't have it. And the more mana they commit here, the harder it makes it to set up a Pass in Flames, which is probably what they need. Yeah, they're just slamming a bunch of cantrips. If this Opt goes to the bottom, I'm going to feel great about our position. And they do top. It's a little worrisome. Still 5 cards in hand. Somewhat weak draw from our Storm opponent here. Didn't really put us under a lot of pressure on turns 2 and 3, and that allowed us to draw out of our Mana Screw hand and establish a clock. And then just deal with their biggest threats in Electromancer and Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, I think that they might be thinking that they have an extra turn here. And if they have Remand, they do have an extra turn. Another Snapcaster. Oh, I screwed this up. I should have played the Snapcaster on their end step. That would have forced a remand out of them and allowed this Electrolyze to resolve. Whereas now, I have to just pass and try to find a spot where they won't have remand up to cast this Electrolyze, or just break them up with a Snapcaster. This is a spot where a lot of people are going to be tempted to just slam the Electrolyze down and try to end the game. But that just runs afoul of a remand. Once you're ahead like this and you have the Electrolyze, there's no reason to slam it until you get an opening. And you know, if they kill you and you never get the opening, then sure, good on them. But it's likely here that they're going to have to tap low. Like I could see them starting this with Brawl into Ritual. They start with just Desperate Ritual. Okay, well, that's fine. Another Desperate Ritual. So they declined to Splice. I guess that would have been disastrous into a counterspell and cuts them off of any blue mana. This means they definitely don't have a Pyretic. They would have started on one of those. Yeah, I'm surprised to see Manamorphose here. I'm expecting them to get to the point where they need to tap low for a Past in Flames, and then can't both remand and go off after Past in Flames. Because you need 2 more mana after the PIF resolves. This could also be a turn where they just Grape Shot the Tarmogoyf down to hopefully buy time, in which case I'll play the Snap on the end step and put them in the same squeeze I should have put them under last turn. They absolutely need another, I think 2 more rituals here, because they need our ritual land. They need to get to 8 mana in order to Past in Flames, remand, and still have 2 mana floating after the Past in Flames. And currently they have 6 mana. So we're still looking good. They only have 4 cards. And they basically need 2 things that produce an extra mana. Lands, a land and ritual, or 2 rituals, the Past in Flames and the remand to kill us here. And even that wouldn't necessarily kill us. They'd be able to Past in Flames then and then go up to 4 mana. And that's going to be tough. I guess well, if they had another ritual in hand, they'd go up to 5 mana afterwards. But they would draw several cards with the Manamorphoses. Yeah, this is... so I guess it makes sense to just let this Past in Flames resolve and have them tap out for a Desperate Ritual and get the Electrolyze while they're tapped out. Okay. And this should be it. If for whatever reason they have Disrupting Shoal and a 3 mana card to pitch to it, good on them. To you. That would be quite the way to go. Nope. Whew. Slight misstep there at the end, but still in a really good spot. And post board, we got some good cards here. Dispels and Negates are going to be excellent. Damping Spheres and Relic are going to be good as well. I definitely want to cut Blood Moon. I want to cut a Braid. Okay. I kind of like Engineered Explosives in this matchup. I want to cut Roast. I want to cut anything that doesn't kill a creature at instant speed. I want to cut the Electrolyze because generally in removal heavy or slightly removal heavy matchups, Storm opponents will cut their Goblin Electromancers. Oh, we have Surgicals too. Wow. There is a lot going on here. Okay, well, I am going to, however, keep the Engineered Explosives in case they go on an empty play and post board. We can land this at 2 at some point and hold it up for a creature or just save it for an Empty the Warrens. And I'm a little wary of cutting both Huntmasters and Jaces. I do want to cut like some of them. I think Huntmaster is definitely the worst of the 2. I'm going to leave in all my bolts for Brawl. They usually do leave in all their Brawls, or maybe trim 1. Maybe I do just cut these Jaces. It's possible that Damping Sphere isn't very good in this matchup. It might just be here for Tron. I mean, it seems like it's a card that should be really good against them. And I'm definitely going to bring it in at first, but I'm not confident. This leaves us with just Snapcasters, Tarmogoyfs, and Tireless Trackers to win the game with, which might be a little shy on threats. Maybe I want this Keranos. It's nice, even though this is really expensive, it's kind of nice having a threat that ends the game that doesn't die to Grape Shot, because often in post-board games, they'll sit there and Grape Shot down your creatures and just draw a bunch of cards with pieces of the puzzle and play a really long game that way. I have a lot of counter spells in the post-board configuration. 2 Spell Snare, 2 Remand, 2 Negate, 2 Dispel, 2 Logic Knot, and 3 Cryptic, 13 counter spells. I'm going to try it like this at first. We'll see how it goes. Might be a little too threat light. It's possible I want to bring in this Keranos and maybe cut a Cryptic Command. It's the most expensive counter spell. But I do have enough hate, I think, to maybe even just run them out of threats. There is a lot in this sideboard for the Storm matchup. Almost feels like we're playing Temur Moon. No disruption here as of yet, but between two Serum Visions, we should be able to find something before they kill us, especially because they're not going to be oriented towards going off as quickly in the post-board games. I do mulligan to 6. A scry to the top, and here we go. Steam events. A little bit of an awkward sleight of hand, given they know they want the top card, but it is what it is. It'll be interesting here if I... is my opponent likely to slam a Brawl next turn? I don't think I can sit here and not use my mana early. I need to be able to set up and then maybe trade a little and find a window to land a threat. And you don't do that by playing super scared on the early turns. Okay, well, this is a little awkward because I like both of those cards. And to play the Tarmogoyf next turn, I'm going to have to play the Tarmogoyf, I will have to shuffle one away. But I am going to top. We'll draw the Surgical first because I can potentially cast it next turn, whereas I'm not going to be able to cast the Negate if I do anything else. I may just want to go Serum Visions, hold up Spell Snare next turn. Am I getting punished? I could be getting punished here. Ooh, them getting Mountain too. Oh, I got punished. They did slam Brawl. That's usually not their game plan against control decks. Okay, well, I am going to play this Serum Visions and hopefully find a bolt for next turn. It's an Engineered Explosives. I'm going to bottom both of these. I think I need to find an answer to this Brawl. I could get punished by an empty turn. Hopefully I can stop that with Spell Snare. But we're in a tricky spot now. I was hoping that even in the event that they had the Brawl and jammed it, I'd be able to find a bolt with the cantrips, but I was unable to do that. I did find some good interaction, though. See if they go for it here. A little surprised I found the Mountain. Does that mean they're going to try to go off here, really? Doesn't take a whole lot. I'm wondering what I do if they start here with a Ritual, and I think I just snap Spell Snare it. Ooh, okay. Well, that makes me pretty happy, and I'm going to take this turn. They missed a land drop here and didn't go for it. I'm going to take this turn to land this Tarmogoyf. Yeah, we just have land sorcery. Well, it'll make it fun if they go for, if nothing changes in the next two turns, if they just go draw go and then I attack into the Brawl, I can Surgical after a block and eat their Brawl with then 3/4 Tarmogoyf. I wonder which one I'd Surgical. Would I Surgical Scalding Tarn if they miss land drops? Oh, that's gross. I can't. even though they paid 2 mana for it, that's a 3 mana spell because of Brawl, so I can't spell snare it. That is it's kind of a disaster. Now I definitely want to spell snare the first thing I see to buy another turn so I can hold up negate after replaying the Tarmogoyf. And the Scalding Tarn now will find Steam Vents, so I have 3rd blue for a Cryptic. Okay, well, I can't do anything about that one. If they top, now might be the time to Surgical. Stop them from drawing whatever they want there. But we'll see. They bottom. Okay. So Surgical definitely being held for now. Yeah, this is still no land. And the Baral beats commence. That's an interesting one. Awkward with Tarmogoyf. Huh. Definitely playing the Goyf. I think I'm going to hold off on the Relic. The small balling on Relic isn't doing a whole lot here. And I want to wait till I can get more out of it. Is this Manamorphose into a counterspell? Huh. Do I want to spell snare this? I do really want to start clocking them. It would take my shields down, except for this Surgical, which I'm a little wary of. Yeah, I'm just going to let this happen. If they had Remand earlier, I think they would have used it earlier, especially because it lets them loot with Brawl for a land. So this Manamorphose might be a cycle that they wanted to anyway, that they're casting here just in case they draw Remand. I could also have another Repeal. No, they do have Remand. This Remand is worth a little bit more than the Manamorphose because of the extra loot. So I think I'm willing to spell snare it and take this risk. Oh, that's what I should have done. I was thinking about trying to like reduce the ability of them to go off by surgicaling the Manamorphose, and I could have done that first here to see what their hand looks like and if I can take the risk. I think that would have been better. But for now, I'm just going to pass the turn and hope for the best. Yeah. Third land, that's a good start from them. If we see a ritual, we're in trouble. Just pass with Gifts Ungiven would be nice to see. But one more untap and I'd be pretty happy. I'd also be very happy with a Lightning Bolt. Next turn, if we draw a land, we'll probably just hold up Snap Snare plus Negate. Maybe try to get more aggressive with the Tracker, but that makes us vulnerable to the small ball grape shots. If we don't draw a land, we can play Relic and hold up Negate plus pop Relic with the Surgical. Might end up popping the relic. No, I think the relic will probably just sit there to make Past in Flames bad the entire game. And if it eventually makes Goyf small, so be it. They may try to set up a turn where I'm forced to make Goyf small, and then they can Grape Shot it for 2. Or I guess Grape Shot it for 1, because the copy will resolve first before the Grape Shot goes to the yard. Oh no. Oh no. Yep, this is not good. Two mana already here. I assume they're just going to go for Past in Flames, Manamorphose, 2 Rituals. And if that's the case, I might be able to get them with this Surgical. If I can put Desperate Manamorphose in their hand, and the other 2 in the graveyard, and let's say they Desperate first, which is likely what they would do. I take the Manamorphoses in response. Then they have 4 total mana, and they would need another Ritual in their hand in order to Past in Flames with a mana floating. So they'd likely have to pass the turn and be able to untap, Relic their Past in Flames away, and then hold up Negate. My Tarmogoyf would be small, but okay, that's interesting. Do they already have? They could already have Empty, or they could already have Past in Flames. But either way, I think my best bet is to put both Rituals in the graveyard. Then they Noxious Revival one of them, and I take the Manamorphoses in response. And then hopefully they don't have a Cantrip also in their hand. So they have Past in Flames. Yeah, I think that's my best bet, because they're definitely going to Noxious Revival first. Put 2 to my graveyard. I want to give them Noxious Revival because it's both card disadvantage and it gives me something to respond to. I could even target the thing they target with the Revival. Like, it would be great if they went to Revival Manamorphose and I just got everything. But I think they'll get a Ritual because they'll go up to 2 mana, 3 mana with this Manamorphose. I guess with Past in Flames in hand, they could just go for the Manamorphose if they think the coast is clear. If they're at 2 mana here, if they Noxious Revival and I take Manamorphose in response, they can't empty the Warrens either. But 2 to go in the graveyard. Those 2. I think if they had another Remand wouldn't do it because I can replay the Surgical. So I think I might be good here. They need a Cantrip in their hand and one of Empty and Past in Flames. I'm pretty sure they have the latter, but I'm not certain they have the former. Especially given that they found Basic Mountain earlier. It's indicative of a hand that's low on cantrips. They already cast 4 between Vision, Slight, Repeal, and Remand. And then if they had another Manamorphose, I definitely can't beat another Manamorphose in their hand. Oh, yes, they're targeting the Manamorphose. Oh, get some. This is just a great Surgical Extraction. This is one of the best Surgicals I've ever cast in my life. Oh, they do get to Manamorphose in response. I forgot this is an instant. Okay, so they are going to get to empty the Warrens here if that's what they have, which will probably still beat us. But I couldn't stop that. So now this is resolving. Oh, and they do have empty. And that's not good. They're going to empty for 12 here. So graveyard, hand, in the library. Okay, let's get a look at what they're doing because we're likely to lose this game. They do have 2 empties. They left in 3 grape shots. Oh wow, they left in all their creatures. They only turned 1 gifts. Yeah, I'm getting pretty punished here for the various lines I've taken. Makes me feel like I played badly. The thing is, like, if you play too conservatively, there's just no reason for them to go for it. They just keep passing back. Eventually, you need to make them have it, and they indeed did. Okay, well, they did bring in all their pieces, so they are treating us a bit like a control deck. We're going to have 2 turns here to find an engineered explosives. And we know their hand is... we don't get to have their hand come up. I know they had a sleight of hand in there and another brawl. And now we sort of need to find the EE this turn, because otherwise we're in danger of just dying to this like mini grape shot. I know I have an EE near the bottom of my deck, so I'm cracking this fetch now. And opt. Okay, let's start with the opt, because that digs the furthest right now. And that will buy a turn, but I don't think that's actually good enough. Just because it wastes one of our turns too. Now I'm going to snap Serum Visions. Because Serum Visions digs the furthest. And we're in trouble. Definitely in trouble. Damping Sphere would have been good earlier. Gonna bottom this, but keep the opt because that gives us the most looks next turn. Play this tapped and send back. I think I'm gonna trade the snap for a goblin token just because there's basically no chance of it getting through this brawl. Let's see how they scry with the Serum Visions. Two cards on top. Well, now we're probably dead even if they find the... Even if I find the EE. Going to 6 here. And opt, don't fail me now. That can go on the bottom. And we do not have more blue sources. Naturally drew the forest and the stomping ground there. So I guess I do have one more out. Let's play Relic of Progenitus and pop it. Guess I'll attack for 4 first. Oh no, I can't really attack for 4 now. They can like throw away their Brawl that they don't really need to make Popping Relic kill my Tarmogoyf. I should have attacked first. And that'll be game. Okay. Maybe a little bit too aggressive for being on the draw, but it does seem like we have enough threats to close the game, so I'm going to stay with this configuration. Opponent has plenty of grape shots, so I don't think I need too many EEs to deal with empty. I think 2 will be fine. No. Oh, they did. Maybe I do want this Electrolyze, because they did leave in all 6 creatures, which is a lot. Where did the Electrolyze go? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut. I have plenty of counter magic, and Cryptic is one of the worst ones because it's just so expensive. So I'm going to cut a Cryptic for an Electrolyze here. Or maybe, no, not an Electric, for an Abrade. Abrade deals with Brawl as well and is cheaper. I don't really care about the extra card. I just need to deal with their stuff. Feels like we're a little overloaded here for the Storm matchup. Might have a little too much hate. Maybe the Damping Seers are too much. I could see having Electrolyze Cryptic in over them, or Abrade Cryptic, or Abrade Electrolyze. Maybe the 30 EE. These are all reasonable cards, all 4 of them. So anytime you're sideboarding so much that you still have reasonable cards in your sideboard, you're probably going a little too far, especially in a format like Modern. But we'll see. Hopefully we take this one down. Opponent doing some sideboarding of their own, could be adjusting their configuration a bit. They did just beat us up with Empty the Warrens. I will play first. Looks like a pretty reasonable keep to me. We can set up our draws with this Opt, land a threat on turn 2, and then have one of our best counter spells, and hopefully some other piece of disruption, so easy keep. I'm definitely going to prioritize finding a removal spell for a creature with this Opt, because I'm tapping out on turn 2 again. Opponent keeps 7. If they saw Relic, they might be boarding down on Gifts and Givens, and Relic and Surgical. That's definitely something that would be reasonable. Don't need another land. Serum Visions. Well, second Goyf is also kind of interesting. We can really get our beatdowns on. Depending upon if they play a creature, I may just Visions plus Goyf next turn to get them bigger and use my mana. It's really unlikely that they turn 3 kill you without a turn 2 creature, especially post board. And here we see a sleight of hand that they definitely would have played turn 1 if they had it. That must have been their draw. It's also less likely for them to kill you on turn 3. I was going to say like when they board down on Gifts and Given, but they could empty us for a fair amount. You know what? I'm just going to play it safe this time after getting... Oh, now I definitely get to play it safe because they played Sleight of Hand. So there's no real reason to play the Serum Visions yet. I can just attack for 3 and play the other Tarmogoyf. I should be a little wary of Grape Shot wiping my board, but they need a Grape Shot for 8, which is pretty tough, without committing a lot of resources on their end. Granted, I don't have a lot back here with a 5-land draw. The Steam Vent Shocking is an aggressive play. It's a signal of strength. I do have 7 cards here. I'm a little worried. Ooh, nothing. This makes me happy. Unless they're just... Okay. Let's crack this and get a steam vents. And ooh, that is also a good one. That will help us turn this clock down, because right now we have 6 points, so we attack for 12 in 2 turns, gets them to 3. The bolt will finish them off, or we'll also answer a creature. So let's see our visions, hope to find some other piece of interaction. Spell Snare, perfect. I don't think Surgical is great right now. Is it better than a random draw if I need something for next turn? Thing is, I don't really need something for next turn. I have them dead. So I'm actually going to bottom both. If I need something for next turn, it's probably a creature, because they've probably grape shotted my board. Or I need like an answer to goblins, because they've managed to empty through my 3 interactive spells. Is this a repeal? That's fine. So now we're going to be off by a turn, but I'm still going to hold up all the interaction, because I'm going to be off by a turn anyway. And this will bring them to 12. They think I might want to recast here, so I have 6 points, 2-turn clock. But the bolt does change that. So I can attack to 9, replay Goif, have all 3 pieces up again, and then attack them to 3 and kill them. Okay, Serum Visions, can't do anything about that. So we're playing a little bit more cautiously here in this game, because we do already have some of a clock. Before I was more aggressive because that 1 Tarmogoyf was my only clock. And now they put both cards on top, another sign of strength. I guess the untapped land was more a sign of repeal. And the 1 of that I saw from game 2. It does also suggest they don't have a Shivan Reef, Spiral of Canal, or Basic in their hand, which is basically all their other lands. So they might be discarding the hand size here. Nope, they now have a Scalding Tarn. So, I'm inclined to Lightning Bolt this and just, again, slow down myself down by a bit so that my other spells can be aligned more appropriately. I usually like to Spell Snare Manamorphoses. And in this case, I'm going to let them cast another spell to follow up and bolt in response. And hopefully that makes them unable to go again. Or maybe they think they can go for an empty after that. So like say I let them resolve a ritual here, or cast a ritual, I bolt in response, they go up to 3 mana, they play another ritual, and then can empty for a fair amount. Because they've cast Serum Visions of Brawl, they'll have 2 rituals, that's 4. My bolt is 5, their empties for 12. But then I'll Spell Snare a follow-up ritual for sure. And that'll get 2 of them. Instead, it looks like they found Mountain and did nothing. No, they're just clucking through, I guess. Ooh, they're Manamorphosing. Well, I will certainly Lightning Bolt this in response. And I will let this Manamorphose resolve. So this gets them to 2 mana. So I can let another ritual resolve, because they now cost 2. And be fine. I will definitely Spell Snare any creature here they attempt to play. Also now my Tarmogoyf's a 4/5 because of the creature in the graveyard, so I don't need the bolt to go upstairs, because I'll attack them to 7 and then have 8 power on the next turn. Okay, they don't have any means to continue. They're all lands, so maybe I wanted to keep that Surgical, you know. But I will replay my Tarmogoyf, and we'll see if they can beat Dispel Spell Snare, which is pretty good. And I will be using them pretty aggressively here, because I just want to stop them for a turn. I don't need to completely cripple them. I have lethal damage on board. Just need them to commit their mana and not let anything too crazy happen. I would definitely love seeing a tapped land to start. That is just a dead card, essentially. I think I want to dispel this because it's possible they. No, I think they would have started with a creature. Thing is, what instant do they have in their deck that doesn't cost 2 that I care about? Right? Like all the rituals cost 2, Manamorphoses cost 2, Remand costs 2. They could have their own dispels. Okay, I'm willing to say maybe because that is sometimes a thing. And if they play a creature here and pass and are forced to chump block, then they're down to 4 cards and still need to beat a dispel and hope I don't draw a bolt or another piece of interaction. I mean, Remand on the Spell Snare doesn't really do a whole lot. So, sure. And now I still have the Dispel up, and they have no mana left. And that's it. We win that game with a Dispel back, too. Another game where our opponent, they didn't do anything on turn 1 and only had a cantrip on turn 2, so a little bit slow out of the gates. Both games 1 and 3, they're a little slow out of the gates, and that gave us time to set up a clock and use our disruption appropriately. Whereas in game 2, they came out of the gates really quickly. They took the risk, fired off the creature. I didn't have the removal spell. I didn't leave up the spell snare because I was playing aggressively. And I wasn't able to establish a clock and leave up my interaction. I chose to go the aggressive route, and they were able to force through an empty that I didn't have an answer to. So, really shows the importance of being able to establish that pressure and put the onus on the combo player to maybe fire off and try to go off when they're not ready, or at least fire into your interaction so that you have the ability to use your interaction appropriately because you're not constrained on your mana. Also, a little bit fortunate in that third game to find my cheap interaction. I drew all 1 mana spells between cantrips, bolt, spell snare, and dispel. So on turn 5 there, I'm able to play Tarmogoyf and hold up all 3 of them and really be prepared for what they're doing. So combo decks like that, like Storm, that try to go off in this one big turn, often prey on decks that rely on counter spells as their primary mode of disruption by waiting, letting you build up a hand of counter spells, them build up a hand, and hoping that they get you by constraining your mana on the one big turn, because usually their spells are going to be cheaper than your counter magic. So having really cheap spells like Spell Snare and Dispel is really helpful. Spell Snare especially against Storm because it counters all the rituals, the Manamorphoses, and the creatures. So you sort of get spells and creatures at the same time, and then you can focus your bigger disruptive elements, your Cryptic Commands, your Logic Knots, your more expensive counter spells on Gifts Ungiven, Past in Flames, and Pieces of the Puzzle in the post-board games. So you're not trading at as much of a mana deficit, and you don't fall behind and get your mana constrained like that. So pretty textbook way of playing against combo. I think this build of Temur definitely had a lot against Storm, so that should be a pretty good matchup. I think you could even cut a couple cards to try to help you out in other matchups. Something like Grixis Death Shadow is probably tough because your red removal is weak, but you can tune the deck how you want. Maybe I'm not supposed to bring in the Damping Spheres. They might just be there for Tron, but in the end it worked out. So hope you enjoyed watching that one, and you can come back and see me on Monday. Bye.